for me too. So we're just going to kind of conversate it, which is totally cool. I'm down with it. But I would like for you to just talk about introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, hey girl, hey, what's up? So I'm Kadija, aka the musingknomad, and yeah, I'm just a spunky, fun, revolutionary spirit kind of person, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. You'll have to ask to find out more, but that's just the gist of it for now.
Yeah, no, you're in France right now, yes?
Yeah, so I'm living in France.
How long have you been living in France?
I've been here for 7 years now.
Oh, you're living.
Yeah, so I've been here for a while.
This is life.
For now, yeah. Maybe if we have a new president-elect, we'll see. But if not, girl, I'm gonna stay right here because I'm not feeling Agent Orange. So no.
And that's a good reminder. Everyone, go out and vote.
Right. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Why are you doing this? Why do you do this? What you about?
It's so funny. I never really talk about myself. So I'm like, so I am Donna. People here know, but I'll say it again because I'm awkward like that sometimes. I'm Donna, and I'm from Texas, and I study like film and television. Mm-hmm. And so my whole thing is storytelling. So like I'm an aspiring writer, filmmaker. When I was in LA for school, like a year or two after I graduated, I had started a blog, and it was like, it was called like Beautiful Girl 1, and like it would be Beautiful Girl 1, Beautiful Girl 2, and it would be highlighting different Black women. And so after I did my last podcast with my friend and that ended, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own podcast and tell the stories of Black women. I'm going to start my own platform to start, putting out our stories and hopefully creating a space where we are just able to be. So the reason why it's format the way it is like, I want to create a space where like you can do you, speak you, and don't feel like you need to defend you. Don't feel like you need to like present an image to me. Like, I just think we have to do that enough dealing with people in regular life, dealing with our own brain. So it's like, okay. So this is what it was. It's like, I, want to share our stories, and I want to share our stories unfiltered.
Well, that's dope. And I hope that whatever else you want to come into fruition will. So crossing all my fingers, all my everything's for you.
Hope I love it. So tell me about how you developed like your brand. Like, how did it come to be? What was the passion behind it?
I would say a few years ago, I actually had my YouTube channel, and I was talking about politics and issues that just spoke to me. And it wasn't moving at the rate that I wanted it to move. And I was still learning, how to edit and all that stuff. And I just decided like, nah. And I just wasn't in the headspace because I was, going through, different things, and I just wasn't in the headspace. So I just kind of deleted everything. And this year, or actually December of this past year, I decided just to restart it. And this time I wasn't going to do I was just going to do fluff things. So that way it'd be easier and I could get some free clothes because I do a lot of try on hauls, right? But unfortunately, I haven't, I guess because of Love Island and speaking about the issues that Black women are facing on that show and being tokenized, et cetera, it's kind of bringing back the Kadija that is about it, where I'm talking about issues, and it's bringing that back. And I'm starting to embrace that, where I'm also going to be talking about, real issues, not just doing try on hauls. Try on hauls are nice, but I'm noticing now that I'm getting more views about me when I'm speaking about issues rather than just doing my haul videos, and I have a small channel, so it's growing slowly but surely.
Well, as someone who found you randomly on the internet, you have an amazing personality. I love your point of view. And I think when we were kind of talking through voice message, I might have said this, but like, I did say this and I felt very shy. I remember the feeling. I was like, I feel like your point of view has definitely opened up my eyes to things that I didn't necessarily see when it comes to like people dynamics and relationships. Just hearing you speak and stuff, I definitely can tell that like, you're like, you know what, at this point in my life, you would say things like, you're not going to trick me. I see people for who they are. I can read and all that. And like, I'm not a person, I can read people, but sometimes I can't place my finger on what it is.
Right.
I'm more of like, ooh, something about this isn't right, but I
Right.
don't know why. And what I felt like when I was watching you is that it was a pinpointing of why that is something that is a red flag, or why that's something that isn't sitting right.
Right.
And I think that takes a lot of like maturity to be able to look at situations and actually dissect them. And I consider myself like a late bloomer when it comes to even reading myself and reading relationships. And
Mm.
so it's fascinating. Like I'm definitely one of those people. I don't even know if you know my YouTube name, but I'm definitely one of those people in your comments like, I want to hear more. What is your
Mm.
point of view on this? Big reason why I wanted to bring you on here is because, my brand is like Black women, and how do we see things? How do we see situations? And so it's like, I love Love Island. You speak about Love Island. I love hearing you speak about and getting your point of view. So it's like, I wanted to discuss, breaking down or maybe looking at some characters or looking about some
Hmm.
relational dynamics or just
Right.
situations in the show and the point of view of seeing it through your experience, but also let's talk about like seeing it through the eyes of like a Black woman. And so they're not going to come out here and say anything negative about them, even if they think negative.
Mm.
I feel like their personalities gives me, I'm not going to say anything negative about them on these interviews, even if
Yeah.
I maybe feel some type of way or something like that.
Right.
So like, and because there's people that have said negative things about them that they have not said anything about, like Rachel,
Right.
like Trey.
Mm.
Oh, Rachel, our only other Black girl on this show, and it has been a tragic demise since.
I will say, I don't know if you watched her live. I wasn't going to, but people kept asking me because they wanted to hear my opinion, and I'm going to be posting a video about that. But I listened to her live, and I will say this. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt for one reason. She said when she was on the show, her and Justine were quote unquote best friends, meaning your best friend in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Justine was telling her, "Oh yeah, Kayla likes you, girl." Like, and we won't know unless Justine says something. But I don't see why Rachel would lie about that either. You get what I'm trying to say? Because when she made these interviews, it was weeks before Justine and before weeks before Justine and Caleb won the show, right? So at the time when she was giving these interviews, she was kind of in her feelings and saying her piece. So, but I'm not. We'll get into her more. I'm not going to disregard the things that she said with regards to Justine specifically, and only kind of like focusing on her and blaming her. Where I'm like, Caleb is the one that really kind of did you wrong. But we'll get into that. But when she was, talking about that, she made a point to say that Justine was my really good friend on the show, and she was telling me he liked me and I liked him and pushing me, and all of a sudden, then you're gonna like go after him. And I'm not gonna lie, for me personally, right, my man is off limits. My friend, my man, you can be friends, but if you want to be more than his friend, both of you are off limits. Like go be by yourself. Do you? I don't want none of you then. So if she kind of thinks in that way, I could understand why she would be upset, where it's like, bitch, you're the one telling me he's all up, but he wants me and he likes me, and all of a sudden you gonna like him. Like, what is this about? So if she did do wrong in that, we definitely need to call her out for that. But again, she hasn't said anything, but I don't see why Rachel would lie. And I also want to address the fact that at the end of the day, this is a Black woman, regardless of what her experiences are. And I am pro Black girl all day, every day, right? And I'm not going to go in as hard on her as I would maybe other people, because I want to give her some grace. And she is young, and explaining like her background about, being adopted by white people, etc. I'm like, okay, listening, getting more, learning more about her story. I think it's really sad that people are kind of like attacking her because of her Blackness, or making her kind of like the token. And I'm not saying she didn't cause some of this for herself. You know what I mean? And I will say as well, like when I did one of my videos, I was like, bitch, I was going in on her, and I was like, I will, check myself and say, okay, bitch, you could have done better. But for me, when I was addressing her, it wasn't about like her person and her physicality or whatever. It was just like, bitch, you're wrong. Like, why are you just mad at Justine? Caleb did you wrong, and Caleb did you wrong. And at the end of the day, like I said before, Jeremiah basically said he didn't want you, so that's why you went for Caleb, right? And at the end of the day as well, you didn't care about Justine's feelings when you came into the house for Jeremiah. You were kissing up on him and doing all this stuff. You didn't care about Justine. But I want us to like separate the fact that, okay, what she did with regards to Justine and Caleb, that's wrong. And maybe Justine's wrong as well if she was saying, okay, girl, he wants you to go after her and then you go after her quote unquote man. But let's like take that away and say, okay, her blackness, her identity, what she looks like, we shouldn't be attacking that aspect of it.
No, I agree. No, I agree. I definitely, obviously, like, I'm always rooting for the black girl. And I can always relate to people. I can relate to Rachel. Just because I feel like my issue with what's coming out from her is how she's seeing the situation.
Right.
You know, that's not to say that the things she's saying isn't true or they didn't happen, but I have a feeling that she sees it through a perspective where, you know, we could say all people do, through a perspective where it benefits her, right? So she looks at the situation with her and Jeremiah and she's like, not different. Right. I was the good guy. I did the right thing. Then she looks at the situation that for the outside viewers, like, this is actually identical. And she goes, no, I'm the victim. I'm this. And so my problem is that, and she's young. Because I feel like I would feel like her if I was her age. Like, I think she's only like, what? I think she's 22, 21? Girl. Yeah. If I was 21, I would probably see the things the same way that she sees them. Through the lens of where I am either victim or I'm doing the right thing. And never seeing myself as potentially like, what did I do wrong in the situation? Right. So I'm not saying she's lying. I just think she needs someone. She needs a friend. Right. She needs someone to be like, hey, I hear you. I hear that you're hurt. I hear that you feel embarrassed. You know, but the way to move forward from this isn't the way that the way that she's doing it right now to move forward is to live in this, I was the victim, they're the enemy. Right. Yes, and the enemy specifically is Justine. And I'm like, girl, and this is something she addressed, and I'm glad she addressed it in her video. She said basically, you know, that the trope of like Black women not being able to get along on set or on a show or whatever. She's like, I'm so mad at myself that I fell into that. And she said later on that she does owe Justine an apology, which I hope they'll reconcile and she will give her that apology, because I think Justine does deserve an apology because this was unnecessary. Because if you're not going to go as hard for the guys, why are you going so hard for her? And again, like I said, it could be because of the little friend code thing of like, you know, that's my dude, you told me, you know, all that. It could be that as well. But I'm like, girl, you could have handled this a lot better. Like, you said this like 3 times in 3 different shows or interviews. Like, it is time to kind of LIG, let this go. And get your money. Get your, like, right. She's wasting, this is what I feel. She's wasting her time to brand right talking about this issue. I agree. That's really what it is. You were on an interview on Entertainment Tonight, and from what I got, the soundbite was just you being mad. Right. Like, you gotta switch it up for you. Because really what she should say, if I was her PR, I would do this. I would go in there and go, you know, am I hurt that I didn't get chosen? Yes. Do I feel a little bit like it was played out one way to my eyes and played out another way? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's a show. And right. It's a game, and the game is for us as women to find a match. And the reality is a show like this doesn't really give that many options to us as Black women. Right. So, I mean, girl. So who was Justine's option? Right. It was either Caleb or Trey. Right. And so, we knew Trey wasn't shit. Oh my gosh. He was, you know, I want to give him, because I watched my mom and she was like, it does seem like he liked her. I would agree. Maybe, let's say maybe I'm giving benefit of the doubt. Let's say maybe he did like her a little bit. But ultimately, she decided she didn't want to be with you. And she told you. Right. And you didn't get it because she explicitly wasn't rude and said, I don't want to be with you anymore. She told you, hey, you know what? You go do your thing and go talk to other girls. You know what that tells me? She is going to do her thing and talk to other people, but he didn't think she had another option. Right. He didn't have another option. He thought, he really didn't. That's why he thought, here's the thing too. So, you know how she talks about Justine said all these positive things about Caleb? Justine thought she was going home too. And I feel like the positive things that she was saying, I don't think they're not truthful things. Like, I think she probably really believed in, like, that he liked you, or they were having conversations, and he would say positive things about Rachel to Justine. He would go, you know, she's good, she hasn't done me wrong. So she's going back and saying, yeah, you know, and y'all are supposed to be friends. It's a weird friendship. Do y'all understand that this isn't a normal world friendship? Like, she's trying to be a friend to you, and you're also, like, in a show where her only option is to actually see if she likes this guy, Caleb. So what did you want her to do? Because of friend code? Because you chose him a day ago? Because your guy just told you wouldn't have even have chosen him?
I mean,
that's why I believe it was the grace of God. God divined them to get together, because the way that they both stayed on the show was weird. If Jeremiah hadn't done that, he would have went home. And the only reason he chose him.
I 100% agree. And I agree with you. I agree with you as well. I was saying, I'm like, the cosmos aligned and said, really somehow or other, they gonna meet. Hey, it happened. Look at this. And I agree. It's like, it is a weird friendship to maintain when you know you're on a game show. And I feel like what you said with regards to if you work her PR, that is the way to play it. Just like and this is one thing I do have to say. If you've noticed, I feel like, because as Black women, we're always going to get the worst, what's the word I'm looking for? The brunt of the criticism. People are criticizing Trey, but I don't feel like they're going in on him as how they're going in on Rachel with regards to, like, bitch, you should have had your weave right, your hair, you know, all this stuff. Whereas, like, you know, it's like, oh, he's just a color. You get trying to say there is a difference in how they're going in on him versus her. And that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more understanding with regards to her, where I'm like, man, fuck him.
No, I really wish we would leave her hair alone. As someone who struggles with my hair and what to do with it, you know, I can't imagine growing up. Like, yeah, we have YouTube, but girl, I don't mean that. I watch these YouTube videos. They do their hair. I'm like, I ain't got the patience for all this. My twister ain't looking like your twister. Okay, these two are not alike. Nailed it, did not nail it. Okay, and it's just like, you would think, as I call out to us as Black women to give other Black women more grace. Right. Specifically for things when it comes to our beauty and our looks, because a lot of it we've had to figure out on our own. We have to make it work. And it sounds like she grew up in an environment, if she was adopted by white people, unless she had a cool white mama that learned how to do her hair, she probably struggled with her hair growing up. And she struggled with her hair on the show. And it's just like, it is what it is. Right. Like,
and I have to point this out because I didn't notice this in the US Love Island, but if you ever watch the UK one, these white girls got these clip-ins. You can see all through. I'm like, damn, girl, you ain't gonna fix your clip-ins? Like, the fuck? But it's like, no one's ever gonna go in on them like that. But, you know, when it's the Black girl, because of respectability politics, we always have to be prim and proper and look good or whatever and make sure we're all, like, presentable. And I hate the burden that we always have to face because of that. But I'm just saying, I want people to go in on Trey's ass like that too. I don't really want that, but I'm just like, let's, you know, not be as harsh.
I just don't. Her. I get it. It's basically like, I don't want you to be going in on her, and it basically because she's a Black woman. Right. Like, if you're going to respond negatively to someone who says something negatively about Justine, then what I want is for you to do it for everyone and not just pinpoint, you know what, who we're really going to pick on? The Black girl. Right. I'm going to tear her down.
Right. Because look at Trey here, making it seem like Justine only won because we pitied her. What was his words that he said? The underdog.
He basically said Caleb was going to give her the attention that I wasn't. First of all, wasn't it her that told her to move on first? If I remember right, as someone who's seen it 20 times, she told you to move on first. And if I remember right,
his game,
girl, if I remember right, you were the one over there like this during the car wash. You were the one shocked. So don't play it like you just hurt.
Right. You're not. And for me, like I have some women who have commented on my videos that said that they felt like he liked her. Personally, I didn't see that. I don't personally think he ever liked her. I think he was just using her as a placeholder because he realized Caitlyn was never really into him, even though he wanted her. and he knew she was going to pick somebody else if she had the chance. So for me, I never thought he was into her, and I never saw the sincerity. And I think she picked up on that. Justine realized this
Mm.
motherfucker is fake, because she said, I'm someone that's very, touchy and physical, and all he did was just do those stupid little forehead cheek kisses, right? She
I
saw
hate
through
that.
that, and she was like, shoot, oh, someone that came in for me that I'm interested in, you do you, I'm gonna do me, because at the end of the day, you wanted to pick Caitlyn or Lauren, the British girl,
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
but it didn't work out for you, so
He
and
really
again,
thought he
just
was sending Justine home.
like you said earlier, with regards to Rachel, and this is something I said too, I'm like, yo, why are you wasting your breath talking negatively about this girl? Right now, you've gained some followers. Why don't you make the best of the situation and brand yourself out into doing other things and gaining other opportunities? Why waste your time? I know you're trying to be, what is it? Relative? That's not the word. It starts with R.
Yeah, relative. I think that's a
Is that
good
the
word.
word? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
like when you're trying to be like the hot topic.
right. Okay, well, that's the word I was looking for then. Because, with regards to Justine and, stay on her bandwagon. But I'm just like, yo, move on. Like, shut up. Let her be happy. Damn.
So I actually think I know why. And this is because I can speak to the insecure girl. Because
With regards to Trey?
no, Trey can't move on because, well, he can't
He
move on
mad
because of
a
her.
black girl beat him at his own game.
Exactly. It's
Beat
ego.
you at your own game. And not even just beat you. I mean, the girl succeeded. She's the winner.
Yeah.
You didn't even think she'd last that long.
No, you
With your
didn't. You thought you were sending her home and you got so happy. You were so happy to spitefully say your little speech and send her home. Like like, so I think the reason why Rachel can't let go of it is because it all comes down to him choosing Justine over her makes her feel like she's not valuable. Something is wrong with her. And
You think
so
so?
I feel like she can't leave it alone because it's like itching at her. Like I really feel that way.
Someone commented, I always like to reference whoever said something because I don't want to steal someone's, thought or whatever. But someone made a point in one of my videos and said that they feel like not Justine, they feel like Rachel feels like she's the better of the black girls. Like she's the prettier one or the whatever one. And maybe that's why she feels spiteful with how things played out. And I was like,
So if
because
that,
it's like,
yeah. No, continue. I'm sorry.
no, that's what I was going to say.
If that's true, then it also goes back to insecurity. The fact that you get your value from being better than someone else,
Right.
it speaks to how lowly you think of yourself
Right.
as a person alone. So if she thinks that about herself and then that thing that she puts her value on was crossed out, oh, it's eating her up. She's like, I've done what's right. I am this. I am thinking about, we don't even know how her life is. Like she's maybe has played a certain or been a certain way to be accepted, and then ultimately like she wasn't accepted or she wasn't chosen. I think the reason she can't get over is because eating up at her self-esteem. It's eating up at her like value. And she's like, if I wasn't chosen or if I wasn't picked, then I'm not. Because Jeremiah messed her up. Jeremiah, Lord have mercy. Who even knows what he was thinking? Girl.
I was so annoyed with him when he got all excited about when Rachel.
Oh, he was so extra.
I knew why he was, but I was just like, that's mean. And then later he caught himself and was like, oh, but I was like, damn.
He was so extra. He did a church pass out. That dude, honestly, I don't like to say people aren't smart. I just like to say he just don't be thinking things through. He don't be thinking. He don't be thinking. And so people were like, oh, I remember when like Justine and Sully were like, oh, Jeremiah's such a stand-up guy. He, said that he didn't like her. I think he honestly wasn't thinking. I think he said that. I think he was feeling that. And he just is like, you know what? I can't keep this in no more. I don't like you.
Right. But he did say, he's like, I know I'm going to go home probably, but it is what it is. And for that, I can respect you because at the end of the day, we know this show is a game. And people are going to do whatever is necessary to stay and make that money. You know what I mean? So
maybe, do you think he thought some new girls would come in before he went?
I mean, he knew that the girls were picking next, so
Oh, he
he
did.
just didn't care. Yeah, because remember after the guys pick, it's the girls, so it's like you knew there's gonna be an elimination soon. And
Okay,
I
well, I'll give him credit. He thought, and he stood on his character and morals. Good for him.
yeah.
You know what? And it needed to happen so that she picked Caleb.
It worked out. It was set in stone somewhere. Someone said this is gonna
Really?
happen, and by God, it happened. So hey, I wish them the best.
Hold on, my God.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I need to get my head right
No
now.
worries.
Get like focused back in.
We're talking about Jeremiah sticking to his
Yeah.
word.
So sorry. My neighbor is being annoying. Okay, I'm gonna focus. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so I think this is my theory. I think that the producers that Caleb and Justine took him by surprise.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
They did
I
not.
think I was even surprised they told him the tweet that Chrissy Teigen and them liked him or liked
They
them.
were
I was surprised.
gonna do that, so it
Hmm?
gave them clout. They were gonna do
Oh,
that not
that's
for them,
true. That's
but for their
true.
clout.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. That's true. But
They didn't care about
that's when Sally or especially Johnny knew, oh, ooh, they're our competition. Ooh, I don't like this. I was like,
yeah, I didn't. And you know what's so funny? Because I definitely think there's a part of me that, like, I think Struggle Love has been valued. Struggle Love has been
like
upheld.
Cardi B and what's his name? Off, whatever.
Offset, I really love Cardi, but I'm so sad about that. It's just, I don't think it's, ultimately she gets to make a decision she wants to make, but like, I just wish she would choose a different guy that, but there's something, someone who does like a lot of like therapy and self-searching stuff, there's something about her trauma that connects with his trauma, and they're just traumaing it up.
Right. And it's a
Like,
shame because I'm like, girl, you're young. You can still you got time. Like, please move on. Because you're going to keep doing this over and over and you keep falling for it. But hey, until she gets sick and tired, she's going to keep doing this. So whenever her sick and tired happens, she'll move forward. But
I have to be honest, like when I saw like Caleb, and because like growing up, I was in a home, I basically, I haven't seen healthy love play out before. And so for me to see them, like it felt foreign to me in a way, because I just wasn't used to it. I'm used to like the trauma. I'm used to the like unhealthy people getting together. Right. And so to see like how easy it is and how natural and how it's like, it's mind blowing to me. Like it really is, because I think Moira was chasing Moira. My bad. Moira.
Whatever, we'll call her. You can call her Eeyore. That's what I call her.
Gosh, bless her heart. Moira, I think she was chasing the fantasy of what love is. She was chasing the spark, the excitement, all of this, the ups and downs and all of that. And that wasn't them. Like
right. I think in the beginning with her, I felt like she gets the high of like, oh, he likes me. She gets that high, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, never mind. I'm like,
totally. Okay, question. I was listening to another girl's feedback, and she says, and this one girl felt like James actually got the short end of the stick.
Someone pointed that out as well, and I'm gonna use another example. I don't know what Love Island this was. It was a season with Lucy and Joe. Basically, very similar situation. They painted it out to make it seem like Joe was this possessive guy that didn't want her to talk to anyone. But then he comes out of the show and it's like, nah, y'all just edited it to make him seem like a bad guy. So with regards to James and Moira, it could be that, because in the beginning, it seemed like they were cool. And all of a sudden she was just like irritated when the new guy came in and was just like, but then he was like just trying to force the conversation as well. So I was like, dude, just leave her alone. But you saw how he was behaving too, where he was just like a little weird and awkward. I was like, dude, chill out, stop, like, because this is only going to make you look worse. So with them, it could be something like that happened. I don't know, but I mean, we'll just have to wait and hear what he said. I think he's probably spoken about it. I don't know. I don't follow them. So.
I don't follow him. I'll do my diligence and go see.
Yeah, but I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if they did paint him to be in a certain way, and for whatever reason they kept her on this show, because I don't understand at all. I'm like, what did this girl bring?
She need to be there. She need to do some. You know how I knew the moment? I mean, we knew, but there was a moment where she stated out her mouth why after the polls thing. Remember when they did the polls thing and she had a whole breakdown?
Oh, girl.
And she said, you know what? It's just hard for me to hear when you don't know who you are. It's hard for you to hear because you don't know. So that it's her problem. She said that.
Wow.
She said that.
That's really insightful. I didn't know that. Because I remember her saying something like, it's hard when people are judging you and they don't know you. But if she said that, well, damn, girl.
I believe so. I had to go look, but she said, she said, when you don't know yourself, she said that. She's like, it's really hard because when you don't know yourself or who you are, it even. I thought that's what she said, but that's
I'm sure you're probably right. But anyways, whoever comments will let us know.
But listen, if that's not what she said, what I said, that's why. The reason why you're upset is because you don't know who you are. And the reason why you can't find a connection or anyone here is because you don't know who you are and you don't know what you want. You're lost. I can relate to it.
Every day, as I was like, my God, girl, you're giving me a headache. I cannot. Every day. Like I'm like, girl, you are boo-hoo crying because America says you two-faced. You care that much about what somebody thinks about you.
Yeah.
That was shocking to me because I'm like, okay, that's just their opinion. It is what it is. Like, if you know who you are, like, you're not going to be pissed off about that. You'll be annoyed, okay? But I was not expecting her to cry like that. But I thought it was really cute how Calvin was there for her. I was like, aw. Even though she gets on my nerves, I'm glad she had somebody to, care for her.
Do you think he's attractive? Like, no, okay. I don't think attractive, but it's more like...
No, we can use that. We can use that. It's okay.
Or do you think... Because if it's negative, I don't want to say that. Like,
no.
Is he your type?
So, I will say this, okay?
Okay. Yes, I'm excited.
Okay. In the beginning, I was like, ew. He irritated me. He's like, I got the perfect smile. I got the perfect this. And I was like, sit your ass down. But I will say, seeing more of his personality, I was like, nah, he's cool. Like, I mean, they didn't show that much of him, but I saw enough where I was like, nah, him and Caleb are vibing. Like, he seems like a cool guy. Like, I like something about him, right? And something, I will say this, when I was in university, this one person that I worked with, they don't look alike, not, built, because, I like my man, like, big, tall. But anyways, he had something about his features. Maybe it was his smile or the squint in his eyes reminded me of someone that I had a crush on. Nothing happened with that, but I was like, okay. I mean, I'm not saying I'm attractive, but his personality is cute, and I will say this, I'm also the type where if I don't have that physical attraction right away, there's no wasting time with nobody. Like, I don't know. But I was like, okay, what you think about him?
Okay, so I think I wasn't really like checking for him. Like, I know all these people on the show are attractive. They are. But I went to his Instagram and he had something about when a man has a hat on. Okay, this sounds bad. I'm going to be honest. I do like the fantasy, not the fantasy. This is just...
It's okay. Tell.
I do like the idea of like the cool blue-eyed soul brother white boy. Like the white boy who like grew up around diversity, like not... Like, I can't do like white boys. I can't do it. Like, I can't do like white boys. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Where you're like, wow, you're really white.
Yeah.
Like, I need like a white boy who can dance. Like, I just need like a white boy with some flavor. And so I hadn't seen the flavor. And then I went to his Instagram and like, he's from Houston. Flavor check number 1. Houston's a very, here in Texas, a very diverse place. So I was like, oh, okay. And then he has these photos. Oh my God, I'm gonna find the photo. I'm gonna find the photo, and it's so it's such trash that this is like, I feel so bad because I think all my friends think I only like white boys. That's not true. I don't. I'm just in Austin, and a lot of times in Austin, like unfortunately, we're surrounded by all white men. You know, and it's cool. And then there's this weird level of black men here that only date white girls. It's
girl.
I mean, but I guess that's everywhere.
In this country, in France, I'm gonna be doing a video about this because, girl, these French black guys are like the worst. The worst.
Trash.
Like, you know how like black, like colorism and self-hate, here it's like a different level of it. I'm like, and you know, I think with them, maybe with me, sometimes it's a pass because I'm more exotic because I'm American, quote unquote. But they are something else.
I just like, and I think what kills me, it's like, then there's the element of the ones who only date white women and they're rude to black women. And they think all black women want them. Like, just because I'm a black woman and you're a black man does not mean I want you, sir.
And for me, at the end of the day, I say that so much. Like, in doing all these videos, I'm realizing I say certain words so much and then I'm trying to like stop. But anyways, when
it's a catchphrase, put it on a shirt.
At the end of the day, I say it so much.
On a shirt, okay?
Period.
Right there at the end of the day. That's your term.
But what was I gonna say? Girl, you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I be talking real I get real hype about things. And I'm like, I'll vote. Okay, here. Let me see if I can find it.
Here's Calvin. He needs a beard. He's all right. For me, I like a beard. You know, if he had a beard, who was it? I was like, who was it on the show? Caleb needs a beard too. Just have one on, like a nice.
Caleb, that would be nice.
I swear, I can't even call him Caleb anymore. I keep calling him Jaleb all the time. I forget.
Yeah, Caleb. I think it's this hat. There's something about like a hat, you know.
I
don't know.
He's not a bad looking guy.
No, Calvin is beautiful. It's not about like to me, it's not about if he's bad. It's like, does he do it for you? Because I'm gonna tell you who actually really does it for me, and I'm a little bit of ashamed, is Bennett.
Oh, Benedict. Oh, sorry. I forgot. That's what Calvin called him that, and ever since it stuck. And LinkedIn, I called her how many? Lincoln, I don't know what her name is anyway. LinkedIn, her. But Bennett. No, Bennett is beautiful. He would look good with a beard, yo. When I saw his face, I was like, nah, you need one. I know, I'm sorry. I like a beard. But Bennett, my bad. He's attractive. He is. He looks older than his age.
The kind of grudgy. Wait, what?
I swear he looks older. He said he's 26. I'm like, 26? Where? Who? When? How?
He looks 26. You don't think so?
Nah, he looks like he's 30 something. I don't see 26 in him. Maybe when he talks, but
I could see that. Yeah, I feel like that's a weird one for me to be like, you know who I like? Bennett. And
no, he's attractive. I'll give him that. He is.
I think because he gives me like kind of a grungy, like tattooy, like, I don't know, like a rocker white boy like feel, but like with like a little bit of an edge. Also, and this is very strange, but I think I have to say it because it did stick out to me. Him putting those clamps on his nipples, they didn't decide him for me, but it didn't deter me. It didn't.
I mean, hey, if you like it kinky, ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay.
It didn't turn me away, but it didn't make it. It didn't turn me, but I was like, oh.
Okay. I mean, I think that's why he won, because the girls are like, well, shit.
So, okay, I have a question. Why do you think we attach to the struggle of? Why do you think that something as natural as Jaleb is unfamiliar?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Maybe people feel like because you've overcome things, that means that your relationship is strong and because you've gone through things. And I don't understand, for me personally, I don't understand why that equates to a more valuable relationship. Because for me, I don't like that. And I say this even though I don't deal with struggle love, that's not part of my ministry. I don't fucks with it, but I've also experienced it, right? And that experience taught me, no, ma'am, I'm not dealing with this. This is toxic. This is a waste of time. I'm not going to put myself in this position ever again. But I don't know why people would want idealize that. I don't know. What do you think?
I just think it's because we're broken people. Like, I think the reason why we stay in struggle love is because we're struggling. Like, I think the only reason why someone would stay in something that is destroying them is because they think that's all they can get. Or they're, you know, like, I used to talk to this guy for a year, really sweet guy, but he was in love with his ex still. And a part of him not being able to let that go, I think it's because he never felt like he would fall in love with someone else. But in turn, he wasn't giving himself a chance to fall in love with anyone else because he was so obsessed with what that love looked like. You know, I also think love is such a love. If we're amongst each other here on earth and we're just like human brains popping together, defining love is very weird to define because love, people could think it's love, but it could be infatuation. It could be, you're speaking to my need for a father. You're speaking to my need for a mother. You're speaking to my need for value. Like, there's I think what we define as love is a lot of times maybe not love, but more trauma. You know,
that's a really good point, honestly. And that, when you say that, it made me think of, I don't fucks with him because I don't fuck with ancient motherfuckers, i.e. Fabulous and Emily, whatever her name is.
Yes.
Like, that situation, I'm like, my God. Because I just heard that they recently just had another kid. I'm like, girl, motherfucker done bust your mouth up, was threatening to kill your father and your brother. And for years, you keep dealing with this. And this is, for me, I think the saddest part is with regards to them. I'm like, look at the image that you're showing your kids of, wow, this is what you should idealize for a relationship. This is the blueprint of a relationship. Toxicity.
Yeah.
Violence. And I'm just like, this is so sad. And for me, like, when I think of struggle of that, they're like the captain they're the trademark for that. I mean, there's a lot of other people too, but that, I'm just like, girl, I don't know. And I think you're right.
Well, she's probably in love, whatever that means. And she, you know, I know in those situations, sometimes you can feel stuck. Like, you can feel like financially, I do think the financial thing is a reason, but I think it's also excuse because ultimately you don't want to leave. You don't leave until you're ready to leave. And you really don't want to leave.
Until you're sick of it, you're going to be there. Until you're sick and tired, you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I really hope in the Sully situation that it's not that.
Right.
I hope that he's actually a better guy behind the scenes. And I hope that it's
so too, for her sake. I really do.
I really do. And I hope it's not you're, as my brother says, lost in the sauce. Even me saying it doesn't sound as cool as when he says it.
I mean, mine be teaching me stuff like, the word cap, or you capping? I was like, what does that mean? Because I don't know what
I had no idea what that meant.
I'm like, but we're in the same generation. How is it that, like, I don't know these things, but okay.
I had to put out a poll. I said, hey.
I'm like, Urban Dictionary. I'm like, no cap. What does this mean? Okay. Girl, I'm getting old. Like,
no, not one day we will be. I don't know about you. I feel mentally, I had so I got in this weird kind of like back and forth with my cousin who's 18, and I was wrong. And she was like, I'm 18, you're an adult. And I remember I called my friend and I was like, and then she said I was an adult. And I'm like, girl, you don't even know. One day you're going to be my age and realize you are not an adult. You're just older.
Even now we're still like, am I there yet? Because the other day I saw an image of, I don't know if you ever watched PBS like that, but you remember the show Zaboomafoo? Is that what it was called?
No.
It was a PBS show with these two guys, and then they had this lemur with the long tail, and it was like an animal like show. Well, I love PBS, Arthur, all that. That was my shit. But Zaboomafoo, I may be saying this wrong, but they showed a picture of them from like back then to now, what they look like, and they've aged, and I was like, oh my God, Like, I was watching this and look at them now. Oh my God. But I mean, I embrace the age, the whatever. Like, I don't have any cares about that. It's just
I don't either. I think my biggest thing about me aging is just it's not what I thought it would look like.
right.
I think
I agree.
that's
I
more
agree.
more of the thing, you know? Like you think you would have this feeling of like arriving in a way,
Mm.
and like you don't. You're constantly just needing to grow. And then you see people around you who are your age or older, and you're like, wow, they really are immature.
Mm.
They're really just like winging this. Like, yeah. So
Even I think even like our parents still are winging it. I feel like there's never gonna be like this point where you feel like, yeah, I'm an adult. I mean, I feel like, bitch, I'm grown as fuck. Okay, I do what I want. But then there are times where I'm like, you know what I mean?
yes.
Like, I get it.
Oh, I know what you mean, okay?
I'm like, fuck this shit. All you being an adult means just fucking paying bills and I mean, yeah, you do what you want, but there's still all these fucking constraints that you have. It's like there's no real quote unquote freedom unless you got your financial freedom, and then you can really do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
But
So
even then, let me tell you, once you get that financial freedom, I was listening to this podcast like last night, and he was like, man, what happens is when you financially hit your goal, you realize, wow, this don't make me no happier. Like like
with the extra time to do what you want.
you have the money, right?
I'd be traveling the world. Shoot.
But here's the thing, you're happy. And from what I read, and I don't know you, right? But I feel like there's an element of you that is secure and happy in who you are now. Thus, everything that comes is only adding to it and not being the ingredients to make it.
Right.
But when you're looking for money and for these things to be the ingredients to make you who you are or make you happy, then you realize, oh, money
You'll
don't.
never be satisfied if it's that.
And that's ultimately, yeah. It's not that you can't go on a trip and it makes you happy, but if you're not a happy person, going on that trip ain't gonna change that.
True.
If your heart's sick, it's gonna be sick with just some more money.
I can't argue with that, girl.
Yeah. So if you good now, that money, that ain't nothing but some icing. They ain't nothing but cherry on cherry.
I'm like, I'm going where, who, when, why you want to come? Let's go. That's what I'd be about.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, obviously, regardless of the money or no money, like, you're always going to have down days. But I mean, those things, it's normal, But once you got that inner peace, girl, ain't nobody going to come in and do nothing to fuck it up, And that's something you got to fight for to maintain. And I fight for mine. I'm like, are you here to bring joy or peace or heartache? What you here for?
But what's cool about what you're saying and what it ultimately points to is like you being a person without needing a person. And that's not just relationship. That's like anything. That's like, you don't need, from what I'm giving, from what I get in this conversation, I feel the vibe and the message being preached that me alone is enough for me to maintain and live my life. And because it is, I don't take in things that bring me down.
Right.
Because I respect myself and I see myself enough to create the boundaries, to create the peace in my space. And that's, I think, a lot of why people are in struggle of is because, or attaching to things that aren't good for them, is because they're looking for that peace in these things.
Right. How are you going to find peace in turmoil? I mean, explain that to me, because I'm like, I don't know.
Well, because it's feeding something.
Girl, what?
As someone who has dated people who are trash, it was because it made me feel valuable. It made me feel like I was being seen. It made me feel like, oh, they're paying me attention. Or even this idea of like jealousy, like, oh, he's getting really jealous because I'm valued. I'm, like I'm the one, and he really cares about me because he's jealous.
Right.
You read into these sick things as compliments to yourself.
Right.
And then you're lost in the sauce. And by that point, you're just trying to get out. You don't even know you don't even know you in it. You just sick. That's why the Justin and Caleb thing like blows my mind, because I just never seen something so like, first of all, how for 24, for a black man at the age of 24, he was an athlete.
Mm.
I have my stereotypes about that. For him to be as emotionally intelligent as
Right.
he is, and thoughtful and like thought through, that is a surprise.
Mm.
So I don't think I've encountered a lot. Like, my brother is definitely someone I would look to who is emotionally intelligent, but I don't encounter a lot of men in general
Right.
who are emotionally intelligent enough to speak their
I
feelings
agree.
and to
I
see
agree.
things truthfully. Like, the reason why he gave good advice to everyone is because of the fact that he could see it.
Mm.
He sees the bigger picture.
Right.
Like, and that
And
doesn't.
and also he didn't deal with the BS, because when he was giving advice to Johnny or even Carrington, this is something I did like about Carrington, because when Carrington gave, I don't know if you saw this, it was the episode, I don't remember the exact episode, but Carrington basically said, "Girl, you lied to her. Of course she mad." And then this is when he was almost gonna sleep outside, but later on came into bed and was forcing her to have the conversation. Like, he, I think once you get to the point of like, okay, I see the bullshit, I don't deal with the bullshit, check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Carrington has issues. Okay, we know. That's a whole nother story. We know, okay? But I was glad to like see that there's so many guys on this show that are putting themselves to task, because I feel like, and again, I don't know this. I don't have a whole bunch of guy friends like that. I have some, but I don't have like a lot. So I haven't seen this a lot. But I feel like guys don't really put their friends to
They
task
don't.
when things happen. You know what I mean?
They
Whereas
don't.
like, I think if it was like, "Girl, you know you wrong," like, "Bitch, please." Because like, I'm that friend. Like, you know, you come to me, you're gonna get it straight. I'm not lying to you. I'm gonna tell you like it is. And I'm
I
like,
think
"Girl,
a lot
come
of
on
men
now."
do. Men are more often like to have all their friends be trash and they're their only good friend. It's like, how are you
Right.
only like solid friend and all your friends are trash? Because you
And
accept it.
obviously, birds of a feather. So your friends might be trash and you say you ain't trash, but they done rubbed up on you somehow.
Oh yeah. In the unless I know you solid, like I know a guy solidly and his friends are trash, but it's because you accept the trash. You
Mm.
like allow it. And there's something in you that allows people to be trash and be okay with people treating people like trash and being trash.
Right.
That speaks to you. Like, even though that's not you accept
And
it.
and that's problematic. And I think,
It is.
you know, the quote that Charlemagne did, "Black men don't cheat" thing. My shit is black men ain't shit. And I say that, I know that's a little harsh. I say that to say they're good. Men are trash generally. Generally, men are trash, okay? But if you have trash friends and you don't say nothing and you just let them do things and you don't call them out on stuff, you ain't trash either, because it's kind of like the thing of you're seeing injustice happening, but you say nothing because, you know, it doesn't affect you. You're
Right.
part of the problem. So black men may not cheat. That's some bullshit. But I mean, men cheat in general. But my thing is, okay, well, black men ain't shit. How about it?
Since we're both
And I'm
gonna say things
and
that
I'm not
are fully
against
true.
black men or whatever. I'm sure people are gonna come for me because, heck, come whatever. But I'm not against them. I date them. But let's keep it real. If you're problematic and your friends, if you quote unquote aren't problematic and your friends are problematic, nah, you problematic some way somehow, because if you ain't calling them out, you part of the problem to me.
No, I agree. I think, I hope to, obviously, like, when it comes ultimately to who I want to be with, it's like, that's why, what, one, Justine deserves. She's a good person, good heart. She's honest. She's kind. Like,
Mm,
she doesn't say anything bad about anyone. Like, she
right,
champions everyone. Like, she's
right,
great. And to see two people who are great, and I think it's rare to encounter a man who is mature as the woman is.
right.
Because he's 24. That's young. 24.
And
Um,
honestly, their age difference. She's 27, so it's only for me. I don't think their age
the
is
age difference isn't
no,
big. It's not the
right?
age
No, but
difference.
no, I agree. For his age and where he's at mentally, I'm like, it's beautiful to see, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't see a lot of men even at whatever age like who are at that level.
Right.
So it's nice to see, and it's so refreshing.
Yeah, it really is. Because I think some people can play the game of maturity, but like I feel like he actually walks the talk.
Mm.
Wait, is
I
that
get what you mean. I
talk
don't know.
talk
My brain ain't working right now. Talk the
talk
walk,
the walk?
walk the walk, walk the talk. Girl,
Talk it
I don't.
like walk it like you talk. So, but that's different for me. I think as I would just say, I feel like as women, like, we don't encounter men like that a lot,
Right.
that are comfortable enough.
I think one of the things, and this is honestly the downside of patriarchy, right? Men always feel the need to have this like persona of like strong man, no emotion, no vulnerability, and to see a man who is still strong and showing vulnerability and showing like quote unquote weak side, which it's not weak. Being vulnerable is that's being strong
It's
as
a
well,
strength.
for real, right? Like him showing that side, you're just like, oh my God, like this is so beautiful. Like imagine if everybody had the experience or the freedom to actually be their authentic self. And seeing that was just beautiful because we don't see that. Like, how often do you see some man crying, but it's not because he cheated or whatever, it's crying because he's feeling some real emotions, you know? It's not crying because they're trying to manipulate you into doing something. I eat that bullshit Johnny with his old fake, did you see that tear? I never saw that tear. I was looking, I was like, where's the tear?
I saw
When he
the,
was like
I saw the
oh
sweat
my
tear.
God, I love you.
I saw
I'm
the,
so
the sweat
sorry.
tear. The pressed tear. He was pressed. Girl. Oof, 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 oof. And you know what's so funny? So I'm just gonna cross for 1 second. There's another show I watch called Married at First Sight. And there's a woman on there whose guy that she got paired with is a guy who's okay with showing emotion and being playful and being like sis and just he's just playful like that. And she's like, you know, it's just he's too feminine. And he's not. He's just a guy that's secure in like who he is. And I think someone like a Caleb or someone who isn't trying, like I think it sometimes our own like thought of what men should be playing to that like no emotion this or shake it and like I think that is even something that's foreign to us as something that's acceptable. Like we're more often to be with a Johnny, you know, like that's a man.
True.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the one that shows you he's a cheater and the one that shows you he ain't shit, all that stuff. It's true. It's true. And I'm not saying like I haven't been with somebody like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like we've all experienced, you know, people like that before. And hopefully we just grow and learn from them. But it's just refreshing, like I said, to see a Caleb. And I hope there's gonna be more that come out that show their authentic selves. And
come on, more Calebs.
Right? With regard to the show that you're referring to, I mean, you know how like we say some people, some non-white people who have internalized racism act in certain ways? Maybe for her it could be internalized misogyny because maybe is it misogyny?
Yeah. I think you're right.
I guess it would be because it's like you're used to a type of man that's like this, and if he's not acting in a certain way, then maybe that's like
internalized. That's it.
Or maybe it's internalized patriarchy. I don't know. It's one of them two.
Yeah,
but I don't know, girl.
Laugh. Okay, so is there anything else you want to say? Thank you so much for doing this and being on my show, and I hope I get to interview you and talk with you again.
If I have anything interesting coming up, we'll see. But no, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad I have this conversation, and I enjoyed this, and thank you for making it possible for us to actually like just, you know, talk and be more interactive. Because for me, it's like if I'm gonna talk to somebody, I want to know what you're about. I want to see your vibe. I want to know, you know, how you are. You know what I mean? And I think it's beautiful to you know, build a relationship in that way.
Mm-hmm. So. No, I get it. Okay.
Sure.
Pull up, pull up, I pull up, pull up, I pull up, I pull up.